Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the brand new traditional pocket knives Kentucky Holler Jack. I had the pleasure to check this out at Blade Show last year, and I told them as soon as these were available, I would love to review it on the channel. When he asked me which version I would like to check out, they all looked good. I told him just to surprise me, whatever he liked best. So this is the one he sent me. This is a nice compact gents carry knife. My particular variant has red deer stag covers there. At the time I'm shooting this video, there are 4 of these left, and there's 2 of the smooth yellow bone cover versions. The other 2 are already sold out. So like I said, this is a compact gents knife coming in at 6 inches overall. It has a 2.5-inch spear point blade of 154 cm steel. I like 154 cm. I'm pretty sure Kubi Knives is the OEM. If I'm wrong, I'll try to put it somewhere around here. Your blade has double-sided long pulls. You have a 2-tone satin finish with a vertical satin on your primary and your swedge, and then like a horizontal brush satin on your flats. You have some nice, grippy, effective jimping right there. Definitely grabs a hold of the thumb. The tip on this one being this is a spear point, you're going to have a pretty stout tip, as you can see there. So if you needed to do a little twisting and turning and bore a little small hole into the wood, you should be fine. Your sharpening choil is pretty good. You should have a couple of sharpenings before it'll widen on you. And being this has such a low grind height, I was kind of worried on how thick this one would be. It has 0.11 inch thick blade stock, and the blade has been hollow ground. So as long as this one's nice and sharp, it should perform pretty darn well. Let's find out. This one came with a pretty good edge out of box, and being that QSP is the OEM to this knife, I already figured they usually send their knives out incredibly sharp, and from all my testing, I found that they do a really solid job with their heat treat on the steels that they use. I can't recall if I've tested any of QSP's 154 yet. I'm pretty sure I have, but I can't recall it. But so far so good. You know, this type of stuff, it's going to be able to do it and do it rather easily. It's just all going to depend on how sharp you have your knife. And now we're going to test the ergos. And you know, with the size of the knife this is, and being a slip joint, if I'm going to use this for this type of stuff, I'm going to use it to make feather sticks. I'm not going to be using this to try to exert as much force as I can, even though that's what I'm doing here. Mainly, I do that to see if there's any kind of hot spot poking me or anything, and no, it was nice and comfortable. I was worried that easy open notch would be uncomfortable, but I noticed it was there. It wasn't bad at all. Now, being this is a spear point, it's going to be thicker toward that tip, which is okay when you're doing this. It's just not going to slice as easily as the more thinly ground knives. And being it's a spear point, the tip's going to be in the center line of the scales. So you're going to have a very gradual belly from the tip, and then it goes down just a little ways. So you can just barely do this type of stuff like when you're pushing hard into a flat cutting surface, which you have to do with the sisal rope. You just have enough clearance, but you're really only getting a small portion of that edge onto the cutting material that you're cutting. It just kind of limits it, and that's not a negative or anything. It's just the blade shape. You know, it's a very versatile blade shape. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's pretty much what a spear point is. They're great at piercing, and they have a lot of piercing power. Now you got just enough to hold on to here, and I was able to get this one done, fairly easy. Another place this one's gonna shine is doing those detailed drag cuts. I'm trying to cut small thin slices because just to show how this one performed. Now, on these denser tubings and stuff like that, I did start to notice, and this corner cardboard, that it was catching on the sidewalls a little bit, causing a little bit of resistance. Not the end of the world, just something I noticed. Once again, here, the denim spreads out far whenever you're going to cut it. So you got to pretty much drag the edge through it so you can get through it all the way. It has nothing to do with the size. It's just to do with the belly. Now, I definitely think it performed A-okay. You know, for the size knife this would be used just to do some light duty cutting. For the most part, this handle was nice and comfortable, especially being that the stag comes out a good bit further, as you can see there. So it fills out the back portion of these two fingers a lot better, especially being that this is so narrow. Nothing was uncomfortable as far as like nothing stabbing me or anything. I can kind of feel the easy open notch a little bit, but it didn't hurt anything. The hammer grip, you know, I'm usually cutting rope, string, cardboard, breaking down cardboard boxes, and you should be fine with all that stuff. And then being you have that low tip, because of that spear point blade, it's in the center line of the scales. You can use that tip to do drag cuts if you need to make those fine precision cuts. If you need to pierce into something, you could do that also rather easily with this one because it's going to lead with that tip. Now, I'm not good at rating the walk and talk. Thankfully, Traditional Pocket Knives labels it for you, and they're calling the pull on this one a 7 out of 10. I can see that. Nice pop to it. It's riding on bronze bushings in there, making it nice and smooth. Love the easy open notch right there. And with those long pulls on both sides, it kind of allows you to grab the edge of those. And I got a great pinch on it. Easy to open it for me. When this one's in the open position, anytime I had my finger up here, I felt perfectly fine. It's got enough tension there to where it's not going to easily come down on me. You do have a nice half stop. And as you can see, it's flush in the half stop position. You don't have any crazy gaps in your stainless steel back spring and your stainless steel scale. Your blade is perfectly centered, as you can see there. Your scales have a nice contour on them, and these are held together by Torx fasteners. You have a Torx T8 for your pivot, T6 for your cover screws, and your body screw. You have double-sided stainless steel bolsters, triple fluted on the top side, single flute on the bottom. They have a nice satin finish on them, and in my opinion, that stag looks great. It's a nice tight fitment to the bolsters. No huge gaps anywhere. Very well done. Your weight is coming in at 2.924 ounces. I thought it was definitely manageable. I carried it in an EDC slip with some other things, and I didn't find it to be cumbersome or anything. Now, I'm not sure if the different cover options are any lighter or any heavier. You'd have to check the website. Now for some size comparisons. It's just a hair shorter than the Jack Wolf Knives Little Bro Jack, and it's just a little longer than the Victorinox Cadet. And it's in the middle of the Lion Steel Roundhead and the GEC Lick Creek Boys Knife. And it's just a hair shorter than the Serge Panchenko slip joint, and it's a little longer than the Buck 55. And lastly, it's just about identical in length to the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog, and it's just a little smaller than a Case Canoe. Now, being that no knife's perfect, let's go over my nitpicks and complaints. I think it would have been even better if they would have went with like 0.08 inch stock. That way with the hollow ground blade, it would have been a little thinner. You know, it's still thin enough to slice pretty darn well. I just started noticing a good bit of resistance whenever I was cutting the denser things. But as long as you keep a nice sharp edge on it, it should be able to do just about everything that you would want to do with your slip joint of this size. Maybe T8s throughout, but that's just a very minor nitpick because I don't ever plan on taking this apart. These come in at $120. Do I think it's worth that? Absolutely. It's a very well-made slip joint. It's got excellent walk and talk. Nice and smooth. You got a nice little pinch. Easy open. pincher there. I personally love a spear point blade. Love it. It was comfortable for me and it handled all my tests. And like I said just a little while ago, the only thing I really noticed that I had to put a good bit more pressure into it is whenever I was cutting the corner cardboard. You know, that's a very dense cardboard and it was catching these thicker sidewalls almost immediately. But, you know, he went with the 154 CM and the stainless steel bolsters so he could get the price down so he can make these more affordable to more people. But if you're in the market for a nice, compact, well-made slip joint, then yes, I can highly, highly recommend this one. I have yet to get a knife from Traditional Pocket Knives that I didn't love, and I was actually shocked to see that the Spear Point Ohio River Jack and Jig Tie that I reviewed this year is still available as well. I thought those would have been long sold out. So let me know what y'all think about the new TPK Kentucky Holler Jack. Is this something that interests you? And let me know, do you have any exclusive models from Traditional Pocket Knives? Well, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those down below and I'll do my best to get back with you. I hope every one of y'all is having a fantastic day. Remember, keep your blades sharp. Smile more. Peace.